Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. This is MustardKetchupMayo 1000, and we're back for another installment of UFC prediction slash picks. This week it's going to be the UFC Mexico City, I believe. UFC, yeah, it is Mexico City, but it's UFC Brandon Moreno versus Loner Kavanagh. Uh, Good main event. We'll see how that goes, but first we got to recap last week's, or I guess last Saturday's card, which was UFC Fight Night Houston, Strickland versus Hernandez. Did not do the greatest. I did not do the greatest. But from what I was seeing from other prediction channels, uh, I was in the median. A lot of people did not. A lot of more people did a lot worse than I did, which is surprising. I did not expect to be like not even on the bad end of it, which is I don't know. I was not surprised, or I guess I was surprised by that. But anyways, my picks were right here. Uh, did pretty bad. 7 out of 14, 50% pick rate. It's not what I like to see. But let's just go through it real quick. The first fight was the opener, which was Carly Judice versus Juliana Miller. I think I wasn't able to tune into this one, but I do know that Carly Judice was held down for a while, from what I was looking at after the fight happened. Um, I mean, there's nothing much else to say. Jordan Levitt versus Yadir Del Valle. This one was sad. Didn't get to see it either, but I know that people were saying that Yadir looked horrible, and it's sad to see, man. Sad to see. Maybe I think in hindsight, this one kind of makes sense. Um, Yadir did get like a free win, so maybe people, or I guess like on my end, I was, I guess what's the word? I had like higher expectations because of the fact that he won against Isaac, or won in quotation marks. Um, but what can you do? Next fight was John Paul Lebosnoyani versus Phil Rowe. I didn't get to see this one either. I just realized it was a split decision. I thought it was unanimous for John Paul, so that's interesting. Um, it's interesting that it's split, but that kind of makes sense. That's kind of what I was talking about in my prediction video for this card, was that there was a good chance that Phil Rowe could like somehow turn up. Um, so I mean, I'm not surprised by that one. I just thought it was unanimous. But anyways, next one, Puliana, Pulian, Pu- yeah, Punaheli. I thought it was okay, I don't know. Punaheli Soriano versus Ramiz Brahimaj. I thought his first name was different. Maybe I was saying it wrong. Uh, Soriano won by decision, unanimous. Kind of sad. Kind of expected Ramiz to win. They didn't get to see this one either. It wasn't. I didn't even get to see any of these until like. I mean, I'll point it out whenever we get there, but I didn't get to see this one, so I don't know who looked bad or who looked good. Kind of sad that Ramiz lost though. Woolbell's back though. I'm sure Woolbell's back. But next one, Jocelyn Edwards versus Nora Coronoli. Submission from Jocelyn Edwards. This one's surprising. Didn't expect that at all. Um, Bro, from what I saw in the finishing sequence, she knocked her out and then immediately subbed her. I don't know how that works and how the ref didn't see that, but you know, win is a win. Next fight, Alden Correa versus Luis Gurelli. Kind of knew this was gonna happen. Decision. I thought he was gonna finish him. I remember seeing this one. I kind of started tuning in a little bit, but I remember seeing Luis get stunned pretty bad in the third round. So I thought he was gonna go for a finish. He didn't. So it still looked good. Next fight, Alibi Idris versus Ode Osborne. By this was a decision. Ode looked terrible, and I guess that makes Joseph Morales' win look a lot better, since Alibi's not a can. So hey, shout out Joseph Morales and Alibi. Next fight is Carlos Leal versus Chidi Nojikani. Um, this one was odd. I did not expect Chidi to go the distance with Liao, and I didn't expect Liao to go the distance with Chidi. But it happened. Still don't like this steroid cheat. Next fight. Michelle Pereira versus Zach Reese. This one, okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand this one. I don't at all. I thought Zach Reese won. Maybe that's some bias because I picked him. But I thought Zach Reese won. I don't think Michelle won, in my opinion. I don't think he did enough to win. But this was just an ass off. This is literally mid off. Like you're watching two mid fighters fight and not do enough to show that they're gonna win. That's literally what it came off to, or it looked like. This one was really disappointing. But yeah. Next fight: Jacoby Smith versus Josiah Morales. Josiah Harrell. Um, Jacoby Smith KO. Not bad. I know the stoppage was pretty bad. I saw that. Spivak versus Delija decision. Delija, what are you doing? Spivak, congratulations. Melquizel Costa versus Danige KO. This one was crazy. I'm glad Melky KO'd Danige. That was crazy KO, especially for the first KO that. I guess for the first person to finish Danige, I'm glad it was Melky, and I'm glad it was that way because that was really cool. Rose Medic versus Jeff Neal KO. I kind of spoke about this in the video. I was saying like this one's like could go either way, but I just knew it was gonna finish KO round one for either fighter. Urls won. Urls won. I'm surprised that Urls won, but Urls did win. So congratulations. Jeff Neal's chin is officially gone. Next fight: Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez. Had Sean Strickland decision. Kind of did not care, or not necessarily he didn't care, but I was hoping either fighter would win. Anthony Hernandez just proved to me how bad he is, and he is basically a wrestling merchant, and he cannot take a shot to the body at all. Anyways, congratulations, Sean Strickland. Next fight. I mean, not next fight. Now this week's main event is, this week's event. UFC Fight Night versus Moreno versus Kavanagh. We'll start off with the first fight of the night, which is going to be Wes Schultz versus Damian Pinas. I have Pinas KO round one. Pinas looks a lot better, and technically the only loss that he has is disqualification, or it's an illegal kick. So technically he's undefeated. So I mean, this gives you more reason to pick him. He looked really good against Victor Costa, really good. And Victor Costa, there was a lot of people high on him during the during the Dana White Contender Series fight. So that's good to see from him. Wes Schultz, I don't think looks that good in my opinion. He has a good submission game. He has a good ground game. Could he submit Damian Pinas? Maybe, but I don't think he will. Because his level of comp is not that good. And I thought he was going to lose against Mario Mingaj. Kind of got that submission, that crazy submission, but that's just because Mingaj doesn't know how to do anything on the ground. And then he got KO'd really badly by Abdul Malik. So, if you can get KO'd by Abdul Malik, which is not saying much because Abdul Malik has power, but if you're getting KO'd, I don't trust you against Pinas. So, next fight. Eric Silva versus Francis Marshall. Francis Marshall is going to win this pretty easily by decision. He got robbed. I don't know. I wouldn't say he got robbed against Marion Santos. But like he could have won. He definitely could have won that. There was a good argument on both ends for any fighter, either one of the fighters to win. But I will say he looked really good against Francis Marshall. Myron Santos. And then the Dennis Bazooka, I don't know how to say his last name, but the Bazooka win was pretty good. Isaac Guerin KO, can't really blame him on that one. William Gomi split decision, can't really blame him on that. And then Marcelo Rojo KO is pretty good. But on Eric Silva's end, he's been on layoffs after layoffs after layoffs. His only win was against Anvar Nazarov. That was 3 years ago, mind you. This dude is 35. He was 35 at the time. 35 coming off the Dana White Contender Series. Anytime a fighter from the Dana White Contender Series is coming off or is getting a contract and they're older than like maybe 33, maybe 32, it's not a good look in my opinion. If you're older than 30 on Dana White Contender Series, it's not a good look. There's been good fighters that come out of it, like especially if you're like in the higher divisions. Yes, it looks good, but I don't know. At the lower divisions, it doesn't really look good in my opinion. Um, then he came off of a leg injury. He's coming off of a leg injury, so yeah, I don't really trust him. I think Francis Marshall's just gonna like wrestle him to death. So Francis Marshall decision, we'll take it. Next fight, Ernesta Caraketi versus Sofia Montenegro. Um, this one. All right, we're back. Some technical difficulties. Um, I don't know where I was, but I believe I was at here. I have Ernesta, but this could go either way. Montenegro doesn't look that good. She did pretty bad against Jesla Chavez. Kind of worried because yes, she has Ernesta has a reach advantage, but Sofia just might. I don't know. She has some wrestling, and that's kind of what worries me. So I could definitely see Sofia winning this one, in my opinion. The odds are way too wide. But I'm taking Ernesta decision. Next fight, Douglas Silva Giandrade versus Javier Reyes. This one's easy. Reyes round one KO. This dude is scary. This dude is scary. This dude is coming off of LFA, but this dude is scary. Super scary. This is like one of the only examples where like if they're older than 30 and they're coming off the Dana White Contender Series, like it's completely valid because this dude is scary. This dude has power in his fists, and I'm kind of worried for this guy, Douglas, because Douglas might actually get put in a coffin after this one. So taking Javier round one KO. There's nothing else to say about this one. My first dog is Christian Quinones versus Chris Montinho. I'm taking Chris Montinho for a submission round two. This one's interesting. All right, hear me out, y'all. Hear me out. This one's interesting because I do think the odds are way too wide on Chris, and I don't think Quinones is that good, in my opinion. I don't think he's that good. He is really, really lackluster. Yes, he has a KO against Khalid Taha. Where is Khalid Taha now? I have never seen or heard of Khalid Taha since. Gets submitted by Kyung Ho Kang, and I think Kyung Ho Kang is like a good submission artist, but so is Chris Moutinho to some degree. Like he is a finisher, and he gets submitted by Rayoni Barcelos, which is completely understandable. But Chris Moutinho is not a bum, and this guy's coming off a 2-year layoff. I'm trusting the boy who's not coming off a 2-year layoff and is taking a good recovery after a KO loss. Plus, it was against Malcolm Wellmaker, dude. It's Malcolm Wellmaker. The dude has power. He's not like some bum. Quinones might be a little bit more on that bum side. So, hopefully, Moutinho wins. I really hope he does. Next fight. Macy Chison versus Eileen Perez. Taking Perez by decision. This one's pretty easy in my opinion. Chison is not good. Especially, I always come back to this. The Fortis MMA. If you train at Fortis MMA, I really don't think you're going to go far. Look at Jeff Neal. But I'm taking Eileen Perez. She looks a lot more uniform, ready, and has like a better skill set in my opinion. Chison really just uses that jab to her advantage. And that's it. That's literally it. She could keep her. She could definitely use that height advantage to height and reach advantage to her advantage, but I don't think it's gonna do well, in my opinion. So I'm taking Perez. And yeah, next fight, Jose Medina versus Ryan Gandra. Taking Gandra, but he doesn't look that good in my opinion. Gandra. But I do think it's enough because Medina does not even look any better. So I'm definitely taking Gandra by KO, maybe round 3. But Medina tends to be very blobby. I think Ateba Gutierre really got that KO, but that was just because of body. And Dusko Todorovic got him by submission, but that's submission. understandable. There's not much else to say about this one. It's gonna be a mess of blobs. But yeah. Next fight, Santiago Luna versus Angel Pacheco. I'm taking Santiago Luna. He looked crazy against Kwang Lee. He looked crazy against Kwang Lee, and I'm expecting the exact same like level of skill to come out against Pacheco, because Pacheco has not shown us anything at all, at all. Like, I don't think he should have even gotten the call up to fight Colin Logren, in my opinion. So I'm expecting a KO round one. There's not much else to say. Next fight, Imano Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas. This one is the other dog. Okay, I'm not picking the dog, because Kevin Borjas is the dog. But don't get me wrong. Had to do a quick yawn break. But don't get me wrong. I feel like Borjas definitely has a, what's the word? An argument for him to win this one. It's up there. If Imano, I'm taking him by decision, but if Imano Rodriguez does not get him on the ground and wrestle him, I don't think he's really gonna KO him. Because I feel like that's one of the only ways Kevin Borjas really loses, is if someone overpowers him or just overexerts him. Joshua Van basically pieced him up. Alessandro Costa got on his back and just KO'd him, but he was consistent. He's very pressure heavy. Lazy Boy didn't do much. Sumaderji just basically wrestled him, kept him at a distance. You don't have that same idea with Imano because he's shorter and his reach is shorter, but he has the power and he has the submission ability, and I'm expecting him to use that submission ability in that wrestling to at least get him in a favorable position for him to either win by submission or KO. But I don't think that's gonna happen, especially with somebody who has a little bit more experience with the high level of what's the word of it, opponent. So I feel like he's gonna take him by decision. I think he's gonna edge it out, definitely. But Borjas definitely has the argument to win this one. So don't expect an upset, or expect an upset if that were to happen. But yeah, next fight, Edgar Chairez versus Felipe Bunes. Easily Edgar Chairez, and this one's really straightforward. In my opinion, Felipe Bunes hasn't shown much besides the Jose Johnson win, and that's Jose Johnson. Congratulations. Yeah, Edgar Chairez is definitely winning this one. Definitely by submission round 2. I could definitely see a KO as well, but I want to say submission round 2 because that's kind of what Edgar is known for, is just submissions and his wrestle heavy approach. So I'm taking him by submission round 2. Not much else to say. I really hope he goes far. Next fight, Daniel Zellhuber versus Bobby King Green. I'm taking Zellhuber KO round 1. I feel like this is, in my opinion, yes, Bobby Green looked good against Lance Gibson to some degree. He was doing good against Jim Miller, and he just loses terribly, and it's kind of sad to see. But he's not another yawn break. But he's just not there when it comes to high, decent level competition, and he's old. Zellhuber looks terrible against Michael Johnson, but he looked decent against Ribovic. But my God, man, he needs to do something about the way he fights, because he looks terrible. But I'm still taking Zellhuber KO round 1. Just because King Green is so susceptible to getting chinned. At his age and with the experience he has, I don't really see him going far. Yeah, KO round 1 from Zellhuber. Plus the reach and height advantage. I feel like it might be something like Jalen Turner-esque. Next fight, Marlon Chito Vera versus David Martinez. Taking David Martinez to win by decision. I think I think this is the end of Cheeto, in my opinion. Cheeto, don't get me wrong, amazing guy, good skill. But he only really did good against old guys. And that was like a meme, or like a joke about him. Like way back when he was like on the come up. Like he was only good against people who were like old men. Pedro Munoz, good example. I know there's some other examples that I'm blanking on. That's like another Pedro Munoz like clone. Not Dominic Cruz was another example. Ralph Font, another example. Frankie Edgar. These are all like old men. Davy Grant win. That was good. Um, like not terrible, but not the greatest either. Not terrible, but not the greatest either. So I think the start of his decline. Or really not really the start, but it's the start of his decline in a sense. Um, I don't think it's gonna be a KO, but definitely going the distance. Dave Martinez to win though by decision, possibly KO if it were to happen. Next fight, Brandon Moreno versus Lone. Actually, hold on, let me go back. Cause like okay, we're looking at it. Dave Martinez, Xavier Franklin, decision. Simon Oliveira KO. Ralph on decision. Okay, yeah, no, I'm taking, I'm taking David Martinez. I thought there was an argument for Cheeto, but nah, there's not. Next fight in the main event of the UFC Fight Night Mexico City is Brandon Moreno versus Loner Kavanagh. Taking Brandon Moreno by decision. Um, Brandon Moreno is just better, in my opinion. Loner Kavanagh is not good. Or I guess like not that he's not good. He has way too much time to like progress and get better. I just don't think he is there yet. I think Brandon Moreno still has a lot in him, and so does Loner Kavanagh. But this high of a jump in competition is not good, in my opinion. Yes, he can make the argument for Joshua Van. Like, oh my God, this is like just another Joshua Van situation, and Loner Kavanagh is gonna jump the rankings. I don't see that happening, in my opinion. So I'm expecting a Brandon Moreno decision, maybe KO, maybe submission. I could see Brandon Moreno just doing laps around Loner Kavanagh, but we'll see. Those are the only. I feel like this card is very straightforward, in my opinion. There's really only one dog that I feel really confident in, and that's Moutinho. The other, maybe two dogs. Borjas, maybe three dogs would be like Borjas, Cheeto, and Loner, because it's like a short notice for him. But that's it. There's really nobody else, in my opinion, that could really win in this like situation. So that's all I really have for today. Really short card. It's okay. It's an okay card. I don't think it's the greatest in my opinion, but it's an okay card. But you have UFC 326 the following weekend, and that's all we've been waiting for. That's all we've been waiting for. But yeah, that's everything I had for today. Thank you all for watching. This was Ketchup Mustard Mayo 1000. I hope y'all keep up with my videos and pics. Trying to do better from compared to last week. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.